I'm back with another video. I guess I haven't posted in a while, so yeah, it is another video. But it's my first review, and I'm going to do it on Backrooms. I did this entire recording, and I realized that I didn't plug in my Substack at the beginning, so I'm going to do that now. If you don't want to hear me ramble and you just want to read my review, I'm going to link it down below. I write reviews on Substack, so yeah, go ahead and do that. Backrooms. Now, I'll start by saying I wasn't the biggest fan of Backrooms. Like, I knew what it was, and I knew what, like, the movie was coming and all that stuff, but I wasn't familiar with, like, the lore too much. Yeah, like, I'm well versed in, like, my internet stories prior to, like, 2015. I feel like anything else after, maybe 2016, but anything else after might be too far of a stretch for me. So yeah, I know, like, the history of it. I know where it comes from. Like, the whole picture and stories came out of that, and video games came out of that. But yeah, I wasn't well versed in the lore. But when I found out A24 was doing it, I was kind of excited because A24 is, the art house studio, and they push for, like, smaller creators to get their movies out there. So yeah, I was gonna give this a chance anyway. I watch a lot of A24 stuff, and I watch a lot of movies, as you could tell from behind me. But yeah, Backrooms, I'll start by saying, like, it was okay. I'll go into, like, a spoiler section near the end, but I wanted to get that out of the way. So if you don't want to hear negative critiques, please leave. I'm just saying that because with internet stories come internet fandoms, and I know how they get. So yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan. If you're interested as to why I wasn't a big fan, you could watch till the end or till we get to the spoilers. But yeah, the movie follows Clark. Well, it follows Clark and then Mary, but we start with Clark, and he owns a furniture store, and he goes to see this shrink because he's broke and can't really, like, afford anything, and he's in the middle of a divorce with his ex-wife who took everything from him, and he's living in his furniture store that is doing really bad. And yeah, he sees this shrink to, like, kind of, group up his life struggles. I guess we'll start there. The way this was shot was very weird, in the sense that we see a lot of, like, backstory from both characters, and they don't really tie in till the end, or until we get both point of views. Spoiler, we get both point of views. But we see backstory of Mary. She's not much of a speaker. She plays a psychology role. She's very quiet, but we see a lot of back shots. Well, back shots, that's not what I meant to say. We see a lot of backstory, shots with backstory of Mary and her childhood and what she went through as a kid, and I guess what led her to be a psychologist. And then we get Clark's perspective from these psychology sessions that we see, and, bits of character story throughout the film. Like, when we see, like, bills pile up in his office, and they're coming to fix the lights in his office. Yeah, but after these therapy sessions, he goes to work. He films a commercial for the store that he works in, and yeah, we see a lot of stuff with the lights go on. He gets, like, an electrician to come out and figure out, like, why the lights keep, like, flickering on and off overnight. And he is staying at this place, so I'm shocked he doesn't know by then. But yeah, the movie picks up with him, like, watching TV, and the lights flicker. He goes down to the basement, and he finds this wall that transports him to what we know as the Backrooms. It is vast liminal spaces that continue to grow. Won't get into spoilers, but yeah, it continues to grow and he pretty much traverses them. Now, I want to start with how this movie was shot. It was shot really well. I know Kane Parsons, this is his directorial debut, and he clearly has a talent for capturing images in a certain way. And whoever his cinematographer was, I'm not sure who his cinematographer was, is quite talented as well. This movie was shot really well considering what they had. They had a practical set. I think it was like 30,000 square feet, which is pretty insane. I like that we're going more practical. Like CGI is cool, but yeah, I enjoy practical sets. It makes it feel more real. It gives the actors room to move and breathe, and it doesn't look fake, which is super cool. So I like that. The monster, I believe, was practical as well. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't want to confirm something that I can't confirm myself. But if the set was practical, I'm going to say the monster was practical. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it was shot really well. We also get like found footage shots, which I think were like the highlight of the movie. It starts with a found footage part, which was really cool. It sets the tone for what the movie is, or spoiler, at least what we think the movie's going to be, and it moves on from there. Audio wise, I think this is where this movie stands out. I saw it in Dolby, and the audio mixing for this movie is insane. I like how while they're traversing the back rooms the whole time, we get like these thumps, and it's clearly the monster, but we get these thumps in the background like at all times, and it makes you feel like you're on a timer. I low-key feel like I was like Leon in Resident Evil 2 when Mr. X is like following you and you hear him coming. That's genuinely what I felt, and it was giving me anxiety the whole time. So we get two parts of that, and also like small, very A24 of them to do. We get like small like crescendo and decrescendo parts that like random warping audios and stuff, just throwing you off or really setting tone, which I like. What else could I say? The acting, I know people are criticizing the acting, but I think Clark's actor, which I don't know his name, I feel like I should, I'm sorry. I'm kind of doing this video only because I got new microphones and I want to try them, but I'll be more prepared next time. But Clark's actor, really good. He played like the aggressive, angsty, like store owner with their store in ruins. Like he played that really well. There was a part in like one of the therapy sessions where he's like fidgeting and playing with his finger, and it was like very real. Like very anxiety attack, very antsy. I thought that was good. Mary's getting a lot of criticism, but I feel like she played the psychology role really well. She's kind of just sit back and listen. She doesn't really like speak out or judge. She's kind of just there. And we get that a lot of her as a kid too. Like kind of like the passenger seat in another person's story, which we'll get to. But yeah, she plays a very like therapist role, and we even get that from when she's a kid, kind of just standing there and like watching her mom do all these things. I won't go into like major spoilers here. But yeah, with stuff like that, acting, audio, tone, cinematography, I thought the movie was great. I do think it lacks like poorly in story. Yeah, this is where I think I started to get bored with the movie, and like the story itself. It's really hard to do Backrooms or a story like Backrooms well, because of exactly what it is. Like it's kind of just like open space. Of course, there's lore that you could get to, and YouTube has conjured up and people have written, but I'm speaking about just the movie. The 1 hour and 45-minute feature film that is out in theaters right now. I'm not speaking about Kane Pixel's YouTube series. I'm not talking about lore videos. I'm not talking about any of that, because at the end of the day, it should not matter. Like, I'm going to give an example. Like, when you go to watch Mario, and shoot me, I liked Mario Galaxy, but a lot of people have issues with the story. And at the end of the day, all that movie was dangling keys in your face. And I don't feel like Backrooms needs to be that. I feel like it could have stood on its own. Very like Resident Evil, old Resident Evil movies where like they're not really like cyclical or like tied into the games. Like, it's kind of its own thing. It just has the title. That's what this could have been. So whenever I hear people say like, you don't understand the lore and this and that, like, I don't think that's relevant, because if that was the case and it was a key jingling movie, they should have gone all out, and they didn't. It kind of sits somewhere in the medium from what I'm understanding. I don't really know the lore, but that's what people are telling me. So yeah, the story itself, like, I think the issue I have with this is the lack of like focus. And what I mean by that is, like, if you're gonna do found footage, like when you go watch Rec or when you go watch Blair Witch Project, they have criticisms of their own, but you know, they're found footage, period. You don't really get moments of, you know, from found footage to like film camera. We don't get that. This played with both, which I'm not saying is a problem, but I think that like the found footage was definitely like the director or someone being like, okay, we need something analog because it's in right now, so let's do found footage sections. And from my understanding, I think the games are found footage too. But again, if you're gonna go full blown like lore movie, you're gonna go full blown lore movie, and you're gonna have the whole movie be found footage, or at least, you know, have it be found footage, and then like the therapy sessions are not. I'm thinking of like The Fourth Kind, where it kind of plays in both. You get like the film part of the movie or digital camera, whatever The Fourth Kind was shot in, and then you get the found footage parts for the psychology parts or the abduction at the end. Spoiler alert, sorry if you haven't seen The Fourth Kind, but you could do both. I just think that like it was shoehorned in for like no reason. And if they were going to do the Backrooms sections of the movie, it should have been in found footage at least. It shouldn't be at the beginning for 2 minutes and then a cop out 15 minutes halfway through. And it sucks because I think that those are the best parts of the movie. Especially the part where, actually, you know what? I'm not going to say, I'm going to do that with spoilers. But yeah, another issue that I had with the movie is the lack of focus on both characters. We follow Clark the first half, which is fine because they give us exposition for who Clark is. And then in the second half, we follow Mary, which is fine also. But I think the problem is we don't get enough of her. And I think that their effort into giving us as much Mary as possible was through her childhood like sequences when she was a kid and when she went through with her mother. But I don't think that's enough considering that she's playing the passenger seat character, you know? So when we get that switch and we follow Mary, it's very confusing and very disorienting in terms of what's going on. And the movie starts to lack the little focus it had again because we then switched cameras as well. And it just feels very like TikTok edited. It feels very like, ooh, this is cool, let's do this. Ooh, this is cool, let's do this. This is great, let's do this. And yeah, it just didn't work for me. And that's fine. It doesn't need to work for everyone. There's parts of the movie I do like. And unfortunately, there's parts I don't. So I'm going to get into spoilers now. So if you want to click out, now's your time to do so. But yeah, let's get into spoilers. So the movie itself, I feel, again, was very disconjointed. Part that sticks out to me is like I knew the Backrooms and what the monster was and his obsession with going in. I knew that was going to lead to like him wanting to stay. The minute they said that one line in the beginning where she's like, you know, you're an adult now and you're still alone. And he responds with, I think I like being alone because I'm an asshole. The minute I heard that and the minute I saw him, go into the back rooms and be like obsessed, I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna stay in here. And I think that the back rooms, when Mary goes in, kind of alters as like Clark's descent into madness. That's at least what I infer. Correct me if I'm wrong, loreheads, but I think that the Backrooms manifests and imitates people's realities and not reality itself. And I think that Clark, or at least the script, tries to throw you off in interpreting when Clark says it imitates life and reality. But then that's challenged 2 seconds later when Mary goes into him being full of himself and being arrogant and all this and all that. So I think the Backrooms is imitating Clark's mind as he's going into psychosis in the dark rooms. It is also kind of like sucking his ideology of what life is. And that's why the monster is interpreted like that. I don't really have a take on like what the people are yet, like the other people that were in the dinner table scene. But I think the dinner table scene is where the movie starts to throw me off. Only because that is our perspective switch. But I don't think we were given enough time to actually like dig into the perspective. Like, yeah, Clark went missing. Mary knew about this stuff. Like, the back rooms, because he told her, even though she didn't believe him. But when he's missing and he calls her, she needs to find him. So obviously, like, we were gonna get a perspective switch, but I didn't feel the need to go full blown. But they went ahead and did it, and we start to see the backrooms switch once she starts traversing them, and we start to see things similar to how she is as a character. Like, the heights part, I think it has to do with her fear of like falling down to what she was before. Again, my interpretation. But yeah, I don't know. The story really lost me, and it sucks because it's clear that they're setting up for like a part 2. But I was bored halfway through. I would say the last 45 minutes of the movie, I was really bored. And it sucks because that's like the action part. That's the part where like the monster chases Mary and all this stuff. But it was just boring. And I think like the way the monster looked kind of threw me off. Like he's wearing a pirate suit, and it's like obviously supposed to imitate Clark, but it just threw me off. It threw me off. It was weird. Obviously the monster eating Clark or killing Clark is like him losing himself, at least what I think, again. But yeah, I think I have a general grasp as to like what, or my own interpretation as to what they were showing. And that's what's great about movies, that I'm sure everyone's is different. I just don't think it was interesting enough for me to want to do this. Like with Hereditary or Obsession, or I'm thinking of like great horror movies in the last few years, even bad ones like I can't think of a bad one, and it's kind of sad because I watch a lot of these. Halloween Ends or Halloween Kills, 2 and 3 of the Halloween series. Even those, like, you could kind of sit and be like, all right, like, Michael's not the killer in the third one because his essence needs to live on. Whatever the case is, I thought that wasn't interesting either. But we infer, that's what we do as humans when we watch movies. And this one I just think wasn't interesting, or at least it didn't hit for me. I remember saying, which now I kind of want to take back, because they're not the same thing, even though they're same thing in like essence. It's like, if you want to watch Backrooms, just go watch Us, because like if it's imitating reality, Us is doing the same thing. But again, not the same movie at all. Don't shoot me in the comments. That's just something I said in the beginning. And I still low-key feel it because I think Us is better, but not for like story reasons or anything, just because I think it's a funner movie. But yeah, Backrooms, it was okay. I just have an issue with people being like, oh, you just don't get it because of the lore, and it's like, I shouldn't have to. Like, yeah, it's fun to know it. Like, there was this girl sitting behind me, and like when they mentioned the pool, she was like freaking out, like, oh my god, the pool, oh my god. And I was sitting there like, okay girl, I'm sure the pools mean something, but I don't know what the pools mean. So unless Kane Parsons decides to show me what the pool is, I'm just going to take that as a line. And he did. Spoiler. Well, we're in the spoiler section. But yeah, he does. We see like the little pool section and like what it is. I still don't have an idea of what it meant. But hey, it was kind of like sprinkled in there and he went back. So like, again, this is for like the lore heads too. But I think it's like, if you like it, I think you're a lore head. And if you don't like it, I think you just don't really care for the lore like me. Like, I don't really care for it. Now, if I went and read the lore and I become a backroom stan and I rewatch the movie and I like it, I'm going to look like a fool. But I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, I'm glad. With all that being said, I'm glad we're seeing like stuff like this. We're seeing like game adaptations and stuff because there's huge fan bases, even though they could be toxic. There's huge fan bases for stories like this, and video games and internet has some of the best stories out there. So I'm really hoping this movie is clearly doing well in the box office. It's divisive in like what people think, but yeah, I'm not here to knock it. I just didn't like it, and that's fine. I went and I supported it. I bought my ticket and I watched it and I didn't like it. I'll probably still buy it just to have it. But, oh, and by the way, like A24's packaging of this will probably be sick. Like a deluxe version. So, yeah, I'm going to buy it. Especially because, like, the cinematography was great and the set was great. It just wasn't for me. And that's okay. But, again, I don't think it should be something where it's like, it's not for you because you don't get it in the lore. It's like, that's not what these movies should be doing. Like, this isn't a sequel to a book. Like, you shouldn't have to know lore to like enjoy it fully. Like, I'm sure people went into Mario Galaxy not knowing, well, I was gonna say not knowing who Game & Watch is, but who doesn't know who Game & Watch is? I'm just gonna say it for like the sake of it. I'm sure people went into Mario Galaxy and loved it and didn't know who Game & Watch was. And I'm sure there's people like me who know who Game & Watch are and liked it. And then there's people who know who Game & Watch are and knows Bowser's painting story and knows Yoshi's lore and knows Bowser, what he's doing, and knows Rosalina and Luma's lore. I'm sure they know all that and don't have to, love the movie. They probably hated it. Similar to like Exit 8. I didn't know squat about Exit 8, the game, but that's one of my favorite movies this year. I would say top 5. It's another video game adaptation, and if I had to choose between Backrooms and Exit 8, it's Exit 8 for me. But I also think that that's just a stylistic thing. I think that that's a storytelling thing. It's just the way they did it. Backrooms is great, and it falters in its story for me. And I'm not sure who's really to blame. I know he had like several producers, and I know he's done shorts before. So it's just weird to see it not connect somewhere. I know he didn't write the script. I know someone else did. But at the end of the day, he is the director, and he does what he pleases with his film. And, he might have followed the script a little too literal or listened to his producers a little too much for my liking, which, at the end of the day, who am I? But it's just the truth. That's just how I feel. And there's a whole entire body of people that feel like this. I'm not going to sit here and say it sucked and it's the worst movie of all time, but it just wasn't great, and it was kind of disappointing for me. And yeah, that was Backrooms. If I had to give it a 5-star rating, I would definitely give it a 3 out of 5. Cinematography, audio, and acting would be the 3 points, and then the last 2 would probably be like focus and story. Focus being like, changing in camera and only having like such small sections of found footage. Focus and story would be the last 2 points I take off. So yeah, that was my kind of wordy, long review of Backrooms. You can still go watch it if you want. I don't think I should be your end-all, be-all. I think everyone should interpret and like movies for what they like, and that's it. But if I had to give you reasonings as to why I didn't like it, it's that. If you want to discuss nicely down below in the comment section, you can, or you could hit me up on Twitter or anywhere I yap. And yeah, that's my review. And if you like this, you all know what to do. I don't want to repeat, yeah, cool. See you all.